Hi, welcome to the Cult TV Sofa. This is a reaction video for the 11th episode of Season 1 of Stargate SG1 called The Torment of Tantalus. You can check out the full reaction for this video on my Patreon channel. Check out the link in the description below. Last time Daniel explains that there might be good gods out there as well as the Goa'uld. Teal'c then tells them of a planet that the Jafar are banned from visiting. So of course the team go there. Arriving, they find a device that scans them all and sends Teal'c and Jack, after he leaps in the way to help him, to a cave system. Making friends with the locals, Samantha and Daniel find a woman who used to be a Goa'uld, but she explains that there's a device in the caves that kills the Goa'uld inside someone. Daniel realizes that they could use this device to save his wife and Skara. Jack and Teal'c discover that they're not alone in the cave, as there is a Unus in there with them. This is one of the first creatures that was inhabited by a Goa'uld. They manage to kill it, but the Goa'uld heals it. Finding their way to the exit, they discover that Teal'c cannot leave because of the Goa'uld inside him and the device that is stopping him. The Unus attacks again, and Teal'c risks his life for Jack and kills it. Even though it means he cannot bring Shara back, Daniel destroys the device, stopping Teal'c from leaving, meaning that they can all return home. So let's see what happens in this episode. I'm going to put any relevant trivia that I find over here, and at the end of the reaction I'll be discussing what happened and my thoughts about it. And I'm going to start it in 3, 2, 1.
Now, start. First lock engaged.
Is this in the past? Yes. Early tests on the Stargate?
This was transferred from film of experiments done on the gate in 1945.
Jack.
I thought they never got it working until the film.
This doesn't make any sense.
So they sent someone through in the past. This doesn't make, as they said, doesn't make sense. Where did he go? If it's a he. I'm assuming it's a he. I wouldn't have thought they'd send a woman back then. Where did they send them? Did they go to I can't remember the name of the planet. The planet that Daniel, that they all went to in the first film, but they can't have because they didn't know the dress until what happened in the film. That's what Daniel worked out. Confused.
How long have you been back? Oh.
Oh, so that's right. So in the film, which I know there's a lot of canon stuff that's different in the TV show, but in the film, she was the daughter of the archaeologist who originally found the Stargate buried in Egypt. And she was then heavily involved in the Stargate project going forward and brought Daniel into it. So they said that that film that we saw a minute ago was from 1945. Oh, I can't remember when the Stargate was dug up. God, I think it was like 1920s. So she probably would have been too young to have been involved back then. Oh, I don't know. I'm confused by this one. How could they not have known that they connected in the past?
Catherine, I couldn't tell you.
Why not?
They wouldn't let me. Everything is classified.
But you just did tell her.
Thousands of stargates, planetary shifts. Didn't anyone think I might be interested?
Just like you could have told me there were experiments done on the gate in 1945.
Does she know? Yes.
The Pentagon has recently been declassifying old materials. They ran across a number of file boxes that dealt with the old experiments, and they sent them to us.
The military had very little use for a 21-year-old girl at that time.
I'm sorry, who's Ernest?
Today, one of the generators exploded from the feedback.
Are you going to talk to my father?
Oh, he knows he was there.
I meant about us.
I never asked for any files because I thought I had them.
So basically, all of the notes and everything got lost in bureaucracy, which isn't completely unrealistic, but something as big as this? Don't know.
They're not combinations. They're destinations.
A doorway to heaven can mean any number of different things. It could simply mean that anyone who passes through there will die.
So they worked it all out back then? I mean, they said that they tried loads of different combinations and none of them worked, except for the one which went to Abydos. So we just meant to believe that they back then randomly managed to pick one that worked, which means that they didn't go to Abydos, they went somewhere else. Why wouldn't there be a record of that address? I'm assuming there is a record of that address, but that's just huge. That
I never knew they turned it on. My father never told me. It wasn't in his notes either.
wasn't in his notes. That's just the biggest thing ever. That would be in the notes.
Oh, God.
So it was her, I assume, soon-to-be fiance, or because he hadn't asked for permission yet from her father, who went through the gate.
An explosion in the lab.
Ernest?
I'm so sorry.
They said he died.
My father must have lied to me.
Why? Oh, I suppose back then she wasn't involved in it all, so it would have been hush-hush. So, okay, that's why she wouldn't have known back then. But I still don't understand why all that information wasn't kept and used.
He chose his idea, his work, over me.
And he wouldn't have known how to get back, because Daniel worked out how to come back to Earth.
I wasn't supposed to show you this.
You're not meant to be telling her any of this, I don't think.
Actually, I wasn't supposed to show you any of this.
Yeah. In for a penny, in for a pound.
From the film footage.
They've got the address.
And we can go there.
We're not going to be alive. It's 50 years later.
This is a serious breach of protocol. These rules exist for a reason.
It is.
Catherine! I trust the General is making you feel...
He's trying to fuse the situation.
He's a teddy bear.
Oh!
Teal'c, this is Catherine.
Daniel's told me all about you.
Oh, don't say that. It makes things worse.
He could still be alive, a man who had the vision to see the gate for what it was.
He sounds like a bona fide American hero, sir.
Jack adding that at the end is just going to resonate with the General's sense of honour. So that was cleverly done. That's a good line to add.
It seems the planet in question is close to Abydos, so it uses many of the same points in space as locators, which explains why the team in 45 could coincidentally dial in without compensating for planetary shift.
Good explanation.
The Goulds haven't charted it.
Since they have not traveled to this planet, we may find technologies we can use against them.
That'll work as well.
When it is appropriate.
Oh, even the General smiled at that.
Ernest Littlefield could still be alive, and we should try to find him.
Don't leave someone behind. You wouldn't take her. Not to start with. Maybe later. Well, certainly after the first expedition.
It's a piece of cake.
We saw in the last episode, when they exited, it threw them out. Hope it doesn't do that to her as well. It'll break a hip. Oh, I like that. When the event horizon disappeared, you normally hear the sound of it disappearing, but the real echo as well from it, because of the room looks like it's stone, and it's quite a big room, so you had the echo from it. That was very nice attention to detail. So there's all this sort of dust falling down. Is that from the gate connecting the vibration and everything's disrupted the room. Again, that's clever. Looks like unstable. Sounds like it's unstable. Where's the device? Ah, is that it?
Oh my.
So is that going to be him? I'm going to say yes.
Ernest?
Oh, so you're naked. So has he been there on his own all this time?
We're real.
He's been on his own.
It's about time.
Oh boy.
I like the way she sidestepped that. I mean, if he'd been there on his own for 50 years, he wouldn't be able to speak, I wouldn't have thought. He either wouldn't be able to speak, or if he could speak, that more than likely means he's been speaking to himself all these years to maintain those sort of skills, which would more than likely mean he's mentally not going to be all there. He will be unstable. Understandably so, being on your own for 50 years. I'm assuming he's on his own if he's naked and stuff. I can't imagine there's going to be anybody else there. How is he eating and drinking? I mean, it looks like just a ruined building.
You don't recognize me.
It's going to be hard.
Catherine?
Ooh, that's a reaction. I thought it was water. Oh, blimey. You don't want to be in those towers at the end. I bet that's where they are. So it's some sort of castle? What has he done about food?
Do you have anything to wear? Clothes?
Oh, that's the... he was wearing a diving suit when he went through the gate with air and everything. Clever way of doing it back then. And that's the remnant of the suit. You can see it's got the collar on it from where it connects. That's clever as well. So he's had no clothes or anything, just that. And I assume just after a while he's just not bothered wearing anything if he's on his own. Although it's going to be cold, I would have thought, without clothes on.
No one else lives here? How about nearby?
Nobody.
Are you saying that you've been completely alone here for 50 years?
Wow.
Eat.
So he has got food. Where's it come from?
I don't even know that man.
Well, no, he'll be so different.
Are there ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs here? Symbols that indicate Ra? This could be very important.
I thought they said that the Gould hadn't been there.
Catherine says they're probably alien. Catherine says?
She found me long ago.
Voices in his head.
As long as she is here with me, I will never feel alone.
Yeah, it makes sense. He basically conjured her up in his mind to keep him company. Else he... ironically, he would have gone insane if he hadn't done that. But the fact that he did do it, and maybe he is as well.
So real. Yes. You're going to have to believe.
Well, he doesn't have to believe. He might think this is all in his mind.
In my mind, we didn't have a wonderful life. I thought you were dead.
Oh, be careful. This could destroy his psyche.
You forgave me long ago.
No.
Oh, they've just turned up. He's just seen the first people that he's seen in 50 years. And then he used her as his crutch to survive, and she's just now turned up and just destroying everything. I mean, this could literally break his mind. This is terrible. Handle it differently. Just ease him. Take him home. She shouldn't have been there at all. But they need to be taking him home, and he'll probably spend at least many years in a psychological institution getting help and reacclimatizing to people, but how is that not collapsed, that tower?
A storm approaches.
A pretty big one at that.
It comes every year.
We should take our leave.
No, we can't. Not yet. I mean, we've only begun to explore this place.
No, do that later. Take him home.
We call this the dial home device.
My God.
What the hell?
Oh. Oh. That's not good.
Does this mean we're not going home?
Quite a bit of an issue. They're trying to prop up the wall a bit. Oh, I was going to say the first one looked like kind of runes. Like from the last episode.
I believe this room is some sort of meeting place where 4 alien races would gather, possibly to share knowledge or discuss relations like a United Nations.
Oh, something's coming through at least.
But I think we might be able to figure out some way to rig the power source directly to the gate and then dial in manually.
Okay. Huh. Yeah, I mean, do they need that? Ah, okay. Right. I was about to say, do they need that device? Because she was talking about the power, but she's talking about power in the actual Stargate, not that with it. So yes, that device can be used to quickly dial the address you want to go to. But as they did in the 1940s, they can actually, if they can get power to the Stargate, they can manually turn turn it round to get to the right address to dial. Okay, that makes sense. Wow. Well, that's got power. If you can get that power to the Stargate.
High school chemistry.
1 proton, 1 electron. Hydrogen.
Brilliant.
Chemical elements.
146.
There are currently only 111 elements on the periodic table.
Only 90 when I last looked.
Uh-huh. He's found more.
This is a true universal language.
How can you speak, though, using that? It's commonality, but...
146 elements, letters or word symbols. If they're letters, if they're pictographic, I mean, this could take a lifetime.
More.
He's had a lifetime.
Elaboration of the knowledge of these 4 alien species.
None of which will mean squat.
If you can't get out of there. Yeah. I'm with Jack on that one. Yeah, it's obviously really important, but focus on the task at hand, then come back. Everything's so immediate with Daniel. It all has to be done there and then. It doesn't. I get that he's excited and it's obviously a big thing, and that's his area, whereas the fixing the Stargate's not his area. That's not his expertise. He can't help, probably, with this. So that's his focus. But they need to get home. There's power. Oh. Well, close. Well, that was quite cool. Oh, is it damaged? Ah! That's a little wrinkle in the plan.
This is Thor's race.
Thor was an alien?
Yeah. What about the other 3?
The element the gate is made up of absorbs energy directly. Internal functions will convert and store that energy in capacitor-like reservoirs. But the inside wheel will only unlock and spin freely once there's enough reserve power.
That's cool.
I don't see any electrical outlets, do you?
No USB? Probably need a USB 3 connection to power it. USB 2 probably wouldn't have enough power output.
I don't understand. How did you incorporate the 3-dimensional nature of the information?
Look down.
God, I can't imagine spending my entire life investigating that. I mean, I know he had nothing else to do, but just to be focused on that one thing, it's going to be hard for him to leave, surely. That has been his life. don't know. I'm torn because part of me thinks he's going to want to get home, obviously as soon as possible. But also, say, just being pulled away from all he's known, pretty much. That's going to be hard as well. Like I say, he's going to need severe psychological help after this.
Step away from the pedestal, Danny.
What?
They are going to use that to power it.
The thing may have a power source in it that we can use to get the gate working.
Yeah.
This book may contain knowledge of the universe.
Yeah, and it's useless if we can't get home.
This whole place could join the DHD at the bottom of the ocean any minute, so please.
Dial home device, DHD. Took me a second. Shoot it? Well, there's a better way of doing it than that. That seems weird. Why couldn't they just look at it first, see if there's a way of opening it?
Couldn't we use that Ben Franklin thing?
Lightning.
If we could channel a lightning strike into the gate, it might provide us with enough power.
1.21 gigawatts. They've given it very quickly on the other device. Couldn't they have spent a little bit of time looking to see if they could find a way to open it or channel the power? So yeah, very Back to the Future.
He's obsessed with that thing.
The Torment of Tantalus.
What?
Forced to stand in water that receded when he tried to drink.
God, that's horrible. So whenever he tried to have a drink, it would just move away from him. It's just in front of you. You can never quite get it.
You suffered enough. No sense wasting time in the past. Right?
That's all he's had is the past to live in.
On the peak of the roof. It will attract the lightning.
His helmet.
Take this to the roof.
Please?
Come and get me when we've got the gate running. There isn't enough time. I have to finish this.
You'll never finish it.
No prizes worth attaining if you can never share it. There would be no point.
At least he does realise that. He has a lot of the knowledge already in his head. Getting him home is the priority so that he can share that knowledge. He is your notes. Is their device they have on wheels going to go up to 88 miles an hour now?
What if the gate falls into the ocean?
I am willing to take that risk.
I'm not. Let's go.
Jack!
I'd do the same. I'd drag him.
Please.
You can't. He's a member of a team. I would be dragging him. Surprised Tilk went. I would have thought he'd have waited. Ooh. Well, that was a precise stunt. That's quite cool. That thing fell down and actually protected them from the rest of the stuff falling down, from the rest of the debris.
Wormhole is destabilizing. Still no travelers.
It's running out of juice. Oh! I've got no leg. Got chopped off. And they try and dial it back. They're not going to be able to. It's probably gone.
Chevron 7 will not engage.
I think it's safe to say the place is gone.
Still have my book.
And what's up there in his head?
If you ever run into those aliens who made up the language, you can ask them what it means.
You better let us know this time.
I will, I promise.
Well, you can't promise that because it's not in your remit to talk about it to other people. He's adapting way too quick to all of this. His senses be blown by everything that's just happened and happening now. Okay. Forgetting the beginning of it, it wasn't a bad episode. Seeing the... So we saw that there were four alien species, one of which was Thor, who we know is a good guy, I think, from what we saw last episode. So who were the other three? That implies that they're, unless one of them was the Gould, might not necessarily be all good people, but still leaves two big species out there, so that's interesting. I'm really confused by the beginning. sending him through, how there was no notes, and there were notes, but they were locked away. I assume we are meant to think it was all just hidden away because of bureaucracy and red tape, and it was just all filed and no one knew about it. But that's such a stretch. Sending someone, the fact that they managed to dial and make a connection when they couldn't before. I don't know. Just it all seems very weird to me. The beginning storyline, and so he has adapted way too quickly to coming back. He would just be a mess. Probably retreated into himself. He was there happily talking and hugging. I mean, I would have thought physical contact would be. I mean, the first thing he did when he saw them was to hug them. I don't know. Part of me, I don't know. I'm torn. I could see that maybe he's had no physical contact, so the first thing he would do is hug and get physical contact. But another part of me thinks he wouldn't know what to do. He wouldn't want to be near people. I don't know. Yeah, I suppose his reaction was to hug, so I suppose that does kind of answer the question, but I don't think that would happen. So what's going to happen to him now? I mean, so he's going to need counselling, but he has got a hell of a lot of information in his head, so he's going to probably spend, well, probably the rest of his life, because he's not a young chap, working with the Stargate team. He'll be helping go through his notes and talking about what he saw. And I mean, he saw, I can't remember how many more elements that we don't know about, so they'll be obviously examining that. So he'll be a mine of information. Yeah, definitely an odd one. It it reminds me a bit of the Star Trek Voyager episode Threshold, the one where they go to warp 10. It's kind of like the episode which nobody likes, so they kind of ignore it happened and sort of brush it away. This kind of feels a bit like that because it kind of contradicts everything that's happened and before what we know. So it's kind of like, yeah, it happened, now go away. We'll ignore it now because it just doesn't make sense. Let me know what you thought about this one in the comments below, and I shall see you for the next episode. Be seeing you.